Greetings to all Arrowverse fans. We're looking at Arrow Season 5, and I continues on with the penultimate episode of the season, Missing. The scene opens with Oliver, Thea, and Quentin commending the catch of Adrian Chase, which has reestablished Green Arrow as a saint and sent Oliver's endorsement rating through the rooftop. Quentin says that he's going to discover Renee to upbraid him for missing his gathering, yet wishes Oliver an upbeat birthday before he leaves. Thea recommends to celebrate with a beverage today around evening time. However, Oliver says he made arrangements with Felicity as of now. That night, Oliver heads to Felicity's loft, however finds entry open. He sees the interloper and tosses him to the ground, but it's only Curtis as a component of Oliver's unexpected gathering. At the gathering, Curtis falls out their sonic enhancer for Dinah, who's working, while Dick reveals Oliver he fixed things up with Lila. Quentin shows up later than expected and makes reference to that he can't discover Renee. Oliver gives a toast and says that he can't recall the last time he really praised his birthday. Douglas says it's typically in light of the fact that they're sparing the city from a troublemaker or a malevolent plot this time of year, to which Quentin makes reference to that maybe summer break began right on time for them. Everyone discusses their arrangements with their downtime afterward, leave the space to give Oliver and Felicity a second. In a flashback, Kovar anchors Oliver to the top of a structure in Lian-Yu and infuses him with a torment medicaid called the Red Death. Oliver pledges to murder Kovar. However, Kovar says Oliver will just need to execute himself after the medication grabs hold. Chris makes a beeline for Dinah's condo and a notification that somebody has broken into her place. He tells Felicity, who he was conversing with on telephone, that somebody forced him before he gets took out from behind and hauled away. Oliver and Diggle head to Dinah's loft, and Oliver rapidly verifies that Chase is behind it. He finds a bolt shaft in the condo and discloses to Diggle that Talia al Ghul, in any case, will be working with Chase. Diggle says he'll get Thea and Quentin to a safe house, while Oliver stands up to Chase. Obviously, Chase just snickers at Oliver and says that he's constantly in front of Oliver, while Oliver appears to constantly be behind. Oliver says he's going to discover his companions. However, Chase realizes that Oliver will be back. In another flashback, Kovar begins to torment Oliver and uncovers that the Red Death powers Oliver to remember each torment he has at any point experienced. As Kovar begins contacting Oliver's scars, Oliver begins recalling each horrendous injury he's at any point experienced. Oliver makes a beeline for the Arrow Cave and discloses to Felicity that he needs her to remain with him as opposed to heading off to the safe house with Ian Quentin. Oliver says he's stressed over his child William, and Felicity says she, despite everything, can't discover any hint of him. At that point, Felicity finds that Black Siren has gone away from Argus and is presumably going to the sheltered house. Sufficiently sure, Black Siren appears at the protected house, acting like Laurel. Quinn discovers Black Siren and falters, allowing Evelyn the chance to take both him and Thea out. Darkseid apologizes to Quentin before he drops, however. At the point when Oliver heads to the sheltered house, he makes sense of that Chase is attempting to remove his greatest quality in his group. Oliver says that Diggle and Felicity need to leave town, with the goal that Chase can place them in peril as well. In a flashback, Oliver remembers every one of his disappointments in the course of the most recent couple of years. Kovar passes Oliver a firearm with a projectile and says that he can squander the slug on Kovar or end his own anguish. Kovar says Oliver won't last over 14 minutes before killing himself. Oliver goes to Chase and severely thrashes him. Oliver puts a firearm to Chase's head and says that he will never execute Chase or let him go on the grounds that it won't give him the fulfillment. Adrian says that the best way to spare his companions is to release him. However, Oliver says he'll discover another way. Chase says that Oliver just has until today around evening time to release him, and afterwards says that Oliver is one misfortune away from snapping. Adrian asks Oliver is going to kick the bucket this year, and afterward grins. Thea and Quentin are chained in the rear of a truck, and Thea attempts to clarify that Black Siren isn't their Laurel. Quentin doesn't take the news well. It appears to make sense where Black Siren and Evelyn appear at the drop of where Black Siren and Evelyn appear and drop them off at Chase's mystery refuge. As Diggle and Felicity leave the city, Felicity says she has an awful inclination in her gut about disregarding Oliver. Sufficiently sure, Oliver acknowledges that there's an interloper in the Arrow Cave, Malcolm Merlin. Merlin says he's there to assist Oliver with sparing Thea. In the interim, Thea defies Diggle and Felicity as they attempt to Talia defies Diggle and Felicity as they attempt to leave town. Diggle attempts to run her over. However, is only there to get the vehicle to crash. Felicity and Diggle endure, yet are caught by the League. Oliver and Mona show up at the area of the auto collision. Marilyn needs to deal with Chase. However, Oliver, despite everything, needs to discover another way, and he'll do it without anyone else. Marilyn says that Oliver can't be an island, and that he'll generally have human associations. Oliver makes sure that Chase's jail move goes easily and advises Marilyn to make sense of where his companions are. In a flashback, Oliver sees the mental trip of Yao Fei, who helps us to remember every one of his disappointments in the course of the most recent couple of years. Yao Fei says that everybody endures around Oliver, and afterward advises Oliver to slaughter himself to forestall any all the more misery. The current day, Black Siren puts Quentin in a delivery holder. She's strongly kind to Quentin and says that she's just helping Chase since he liberated her, and like the fact that Chase made a deal to avoid harming Quentin. Quentin reveals that Black Siren and his lore wouldn't be that idiotic, and Black Siren appears to concur with him. Oliver watches Chase get trucked away. Adrian says that the subsequent he jumps on the jail helicopter, the entirety of Oliver's companions will be dead. Adrian additionally says that Oliver's regretting to get a call. Sufficiently sure, Oliver gets a video call, revealing that Chase additionally has William. Oliver pursues Chase, however Argus has just taken him to the exchange site. Malcolm appears and says he calculated that Chase followed Oliver. The two bring down a huge amount of Argus watches, just so Oliver can face Chase. Oliver cries why Chase brought William into it, and Chase affirms that this is on the grounds that Oliver got Chase's better half included. Prior to boarding the helicopter getting away, Chase discloses that he'll see Oliver on the pontoon. Back in the Arrow Cave, Oliver says he's attempting to find Chase by any means of Felicity's PC framework. Oliver additionally uncovers that he's bringing reinforcement by means of Nyssa Al Ghul. Obviously, Oliver didn't reveal to Nyssa that one of their foes is her sister Talia. Felicity's PC goes off, uncovering Chase's area. On plane right away, Oliver, Nyssa, and Malcolm fly to the site of their last standoff with Chase, Lian Yu. In the last flashback, Oliver gets ready to pull the trigger, however fantasy of lore persuades him not to do it. Teresa says loved ones, despite everything, need him. Supposed to shoot himself, Oliver shoots the lock of his cell and exits. Chase's team, Chain Diggle, Thea, Felicity, Quentin, Curtis, and Lian Yu, says he's relying on Oliver appearing and salvage them. Felicity says Oliver can't beat Chase's little armed force alone. Obviously, Oliver isn't finished gathering partners. At the point when he arrives at Lian Yu, he makes a beeline for the mystery Argus fortification and approaches Lian Yu's sole occupant for help. Slade Wilson turns up from his cell and says he's happy that Oliver returned. There's more to his arrangement. Dun dun dun. So anyway, let's take a look at some trivia surrounding this episode. This is the fifth penultimate episode to be named after a Bruce Springsteen song. The song originally appeared on the soundtrack to the 1995 film The Crossing Guard. The title refers to Prometheus' team kidnapping those close to Oliver and bringing them to Lian Yu. This episode marks the first appearance of Byron Man as Yao Fei Gulong in 4 years, as he last appeared in the Season 1 episode Darkness on the Edge of Town. When Diggle and Felicity were in a car and saw Talia Al Ghul, Felicity said that she has flashbacks from Isabel Rochev. When they tried to hit Talia with the car and it didn't work, Felicity remarked that it worked better with Isabel. This is a reference to when Felicity hit Isabel with the van and saved Diggle in the Season 2 penultimate episode Streets of Fire. Felicity got Oliver's birthday cake from Lord Mesa Bakery, a nod to Lord Mesa, an artist who frequently created the art of the Arrowverse. His artwork appears on the cake. Lord Mesa was commissioned by Mark Guggenheim to design the artwork, but was unaware of the shout-out. Also, the number 6 appears on the cake beside the Green Arrow character. This signifies the current number of members on Team Arrow, and the fact that Arrow will be returning for a 6th season. The episode marks the return of Mano Bennett as Slade Wilson, as he last appeared in the Season 3 episode The Return. However, a clip of Bennett's performance was seen in Invasion. Curtis says I always wanted to see Florence, clarifying them in the city and not the woman or her weird machine, referencing the indie rock band Florence and the Machine. Kovar touches Oliver's various scars, causing him to flash back to each of the moments the wounds were inflicted. The scar on his upper right torso where Farmer Yahweh shot him with an arrow in honor of thy father. A scar on his stomach, where Billy Wintergreen stabbed him with a katana and damaged. Scars on his back from when Conklin whipped him and blood debts. After none of their friends had been kidnapped, Lucy links their situation to a horror version of the 1983 film Groundhog Day. Kovar described Oliver like a piece of iron, as reminiscent of another doppelganger character, Ivan Drago, which he described when he described Rocky IV. This episode marks the first appearance of Malcolm Merlyn in the present storyline of Season 5. He previously appeared in flashbacks of Capuchin and A Dream and Invasion, and joined the Legion of Doom during Season 2 of DC's Legends of Tomorrow, after the events of Schism, which meant that this is a year later for him, as Sarah mentioned having dropped him off to 2016 before wiping his memory. Talia's not shown on mask because Lexa Joy does not play her until next episode. Nissa Gould tells Oliver that in 2008, her father instructed her to visit Lian Yu, where she found Sarah Lance. When Sarah joined the League of Assassins in 1958 and left in 1960, as seen in Season 1 DC's Legends of Tomorrow episode Left Behind, she told Rachel Gould to make sure that Nissa would go to Lian Yu to keep her timeline intact. When Oliver showed Malcolm and Nissa his progress in tracking Chase's plane, a map of the west coast of the United States appears, placing Star City in the approximate location of the real world San Francisco. This episode shares similarities to the Flash episode Infantino Street, which aired the same week. Oliver asked an ode for Slade for help in defeating Prometheus, similar to how Barry Allen asked for Leonard Snart to help him defeat Savitar. Oliver and Barry both break into Argus facilities with help from a past enemy, Malcolm and Snart, respectively. Both are the 22nd episode of their respective season. Malcolm mentions the last time he was down in the Arrow Cave, he saved Oliver's life, referring to the events of Season 4's Schism, when he arrived to save Team Wera from Hive. Oliver also confronts Malcolm over giving a building to Damien Dark, referring to the events of Taken. Oliver and Thea referred to the last time she had a birthday party, which is 4 years ago in Season 1's Trust but Verify. Through a Black Cyrus interaction with Quentin, it is suggested her own father is deceased, which was confirmed in the Season 6 episode Irreconcilable Differences. Right before escaping, Chase tells Oliver that he is going to see him on the boat. This clearly foreshadows the ultimate showdown during the concluding scene of the season finale, Lian Yu. Since most of this episode is set on Oliver's birthday, that means it takes place on May 16th, 2017. This is second of 2 episodes of Season 5 to not feature Rick Gonzalez in any capacity. And now finally, let's take a look at a goof. In a flashback when Oliver is in prison holding the gun to his head and pulls the weapon away a little, it clearly shows a prop gun with a plugged hole. Oops. So I think this episode's pretty interesting, and yeah, definitely sets up for what we're going to see in the season finale, so yeah. So overall, I give Missing 5 arrowheads out of 5. When I tune in bed as we take a look at the season finale, Lian Yu. So until then, in the words of Oliver Queen, you have failed this city.